Welcome to Myntoesoracledba YouTube channel. In our previous video, we have seen how to install the Jenkins and how to configure a particular job on the Jenkins. In case that particular job got failed, how to get the notification through that email. All this has been covered in our previous video. In this video, we are going to see the topics of how to configure a slave of Jenkins and what is the purpose we have to use the slave Jenkins, and the next thing is parameterized build. Also we are going to understand that cron expressions, and as well as the last and final topic of Poll SCM versus Git Poll SCM. So let's go back to the video. The first thing is we are going to understand Jenkins distributed architecture. So as we know, when we have installed that Jenkins installation, we are calling that particular machine as a Jenkins master. So when we have the Jenkins master, why do we require a different slave machines for this? So let's understand. In case in your environment you are going to use 12 to 14 or like 30 to 40 Jenkins job has to execute on the one single master instance, then the load of that particular machine would have that more high resource has been utilized. Due to that, maybe that instance could get crash or it could not perform as expected. So what we have to do that we are going to use that slave of that particular machine, which will reduce the burden of the particular master, as well as that particular slave has been configured to execute on the particular duration of the only dedicatedly allocated to handle that particular job, which means I have a certain code which has to execute on the OS machine. That code would end up with 30 to 40 minutes. After the 30 to 40 minutes, I can set up the parameter which is idle. If the machine was in idle of the particular duration, then it will automatically terminate itself. So I don't want to waste every time again I have to launch any instance, or that particular one job have to execute one instance for the longer duration. So with the slaves, also that master would take care of the jobs of scheduling, communicating that instructions to the slaves, and monitoring the slaves can be the job as well. That Jenkins slaves would have been taken care of that executing the jobs and takes care that commands from the master. So let's go back to our Jenkins console. So we have already configured Jenkins slave. I'm going to show that demo. So that plugin is Amazon EC2. So this is that exact plugin. So this plugin actually we required, so we have to install it, and all the steps has been covered on my blog. So if you have any doubts, you can just go and verify it. I'm just reiterating as an overview. So once you have to go back to this, and we have to select that one. So in that cloud, so in the, if you choose the cloud, if it is a first time, it will show that Amazon EC2 as a drop down. So once you have selected, we have to provide that EC2 agent. So the agent name, whatever the name you are going to configure, this is our slave name or that agent name. So we have to keep this name without forgetting it. And second thing, we have to configure that profile name for that EC2. So this profile name, what we have to do, we have to go back here and we have to create that policy, and that policy has been attached to this particular EC2 role. So this role we have been configured on this particular action. So in that we have to update that particular role as here. So after this thing, what we have to do, we have to go back here and choose so the region whatever that EC2 machine, by default it has been automatically taken, or else we have to provide manually. Then we have to attach that when we are launching the instance, we have downloaded that key pair value, right? So we have to attach this particular thing by adding this one. So we have to pass this SSH username and password. So once we have added, we have to use the test connections. So if the test connections would give the success, then you have to go back here. So here we are going to just give the description. So this is for understanding purpose. So I'm just given that dynamic agent. After that we have to pass this AMI ID. So AMI ID is like Amazon machine image. So each OS has have the different AMI images. So here actually we are using for that Ubuntu. So Ubuntu machine contains this particular AMI ID. So I have just copied this AMI ID and I have pasted here. And if you are giving that check AMI ID, it will provide that detail of that particular OS and which kind of version, all the details you could see here. And you want to mention depends upon that load, you can just define that instance type. So since it is at testing, I'm just using that T2 micro. Then we should have to create a one more security group. That security group have the inbound rule of that master, because in that master when we are installing that Jenkins, we have enabled that 8080 port for accessing the Jenkins. So we have just passed that a particular Jenkins security group of the master as an input of this one. We have to just create and provide that. After that we have to provide that which kind of AMI type, so whether it is a Mac or Unix or Windows. So in our case we are going to use that Unix. So I have just provided that Unix. Then that port of that SSH is been 22. So I have given that same. And here that name, whatever in the beginning, whatever the name we have given, the same name has been used as a label name as well. So I have just provided this one. And then this is that major thing, like whenever that machine was in idle on this particular duration, it is going to be terminate. So I have just provided for an example of 10 minutes that init script, what it will do during the installation of that or during the launch of that particular machine. So these are the scripts which is going to execute on that. So I have just provided that dependency of the Java installation, all that set of commands has been passed here. So once you have done, you have to just give it the same. What you have to do, you have to go back here. Here you can see that by default it's like a built-in node. Our built-in node is nothing like that, it's like our master node. Now it has been renamed as a built-in node. So here you can see that our agent as well. Now if you want to verify this agent, what you have to do, you have to just go back here on this particular demo. You have to just configure. So here actually, yes, this what we have to do, we have to select this one, and we have to mention that agent. If the agent is already there, then it will give that. So in case if the agent is not there, I just provided the wrongly agent one, so it will give that see that agent is not available, that legal expression is wrong. So if I provided the exact label, so then it will give this one. So this is my Git project. Now after that adding everything, so this is already seen that everything in the previous video. I've just done the changes of just execute this one. So what I will do, I will just go back to my Git. So this is that my sample project for this Jenkins. So this is the code. So I will just comment some of the lines. So till that I will just comment for it will just updated as a agent mode Jenkins job test. So I will update my changes once the commit has been done. So by default, can just go back here, the demo, every single minute it will monitor and it will shoot it. You have to wait for a second. Yes, see, it will monitor that particular changes would have been happened on that. So right now the changes has been found on that our repo. So it will try to use this particular agent. So you can see that idea of DCF47. You can just go back to our instance whether that instance is launched or not. So here actually the same instance. So one of that machine has been launched for this particular thing. Now it's initializing. It would take I think 5 to 7 minutes. So during this time we can just describe or look into that other topics. So meanwhile we can just have a look. So it was try to execute this particular job. Then that next thing is like a parameterized build. So what is a parameterized build? In the sense, in case you have a Jenkins job, that job has to execute based on that input parameter has to get from that user, or it based on the environment based it has to execute it. In the sense, we can use this parameterized build. So what we'll do, so for example there is an update you have to use based on the region wise you have to execute the script. So the user will execute as based on the multiple choices. So that user will select that particular region and that region would execute those particular job. Or else, so if you want to choose that particular job as to execute one of that environment called dev or stage, so that you have to choose that particular environment and you can just execute the build, then the job would have been executed it. So you can just, so the build history will provide like whatever that previously job has been executed, everything will be shown here. And also there is a name called, it's still going on. So the workspace is nothing like that. It's a directory. All that particular machine has been contains of that Git repository on this particular location. So what we can do, meanwhile when the job is trying to complete, we can understand that. So we will go back to this location, cd /var /lib Jenkins. There is a directory called workspace. So these are my sample thing have just deleted. Now that current project has been executed here. So due to that, it would take I think most, since it is in offline only. So we can go back here, verify the running instances. So see, this is up and running. So most probably with our agent may be in online. So just go back to the nodes. See, before we could see that only that master node was available. Right now that Jenkins agent also displaying here. So if you want to see that more input of this particular thing, so what's going on, see right now there is a set of commands we have provided in that executed part, which means like update and installing that pre-request of the Java software. So it's executing it actually. You could see that. So it's reading the packages and it's installing one by one. So once it has been done, it will provide that Java version 2. I think the same one was executing it. See, so our execute scripts were successful. Now can go back to our we'll take this duplicate of this page, so just go back to this page. In case any demo, see this our demo job was in currently in queue, so that's why that particular job was showing in here like a built-in queue. So the status of that all the jobs will shown here. So the demo, so in that demo you can just view that this particular output. Now it was successfully. Before that it was say like our particular agent was offline. Now our agent became online. Then it started fetching the information from the Git and it will displaying the results from that. So you can just see that that Git commit and everything. So here actually I have just passed that set of commands. So this set of commands is been contains of echo and ls-la. So now the job was successful. Even if you could see that logs of this one, so agent was successfully connected and online. So our agent configuration was successful and it will distribute that workload and it will successfully execute and it will give the response to. So we are good with that. Now we are going back to this particular thing and we are going to see as a demo of parameterized job. So for that parameterized job or parameterized build, so what I'm going to use, I'm just taking the demo parameterized build. I'm just giving the demo parameter build. So here I've just, this is a parameter job build. So the purpose of parameter build is based upon the input of the particular thing. So whether it could be a single string or it's like a choice. So first I will show the demo of single string. So the environment is like env and this one is like a prod. So I just save this file and we have to use some configuration, right? So I will just select this one and I will show echo welcome to Myntoesoracledba Jenkins tutorials. So ls, the next line is you have to provide this ls-la. Fine. Now you could see that one difference in that previous job. For this demo there is option called build now. When we are using that parameterized, it would give the option with build with a parameter. So here actually we have used the string parameter, so it will give that only that particular thing. Now it has been executed and successful as well, because we doesn't have a much information. We have just passed the set of commands of 2.1. So even that agent yes, this particular was running on this agent only, so which is like ls-la and echo of this one. Now I will just going to do that one modification on this particular thing. So I will just change restrict. So okay, this is not executing on it. Okay, fine. So now I will delete this value. Now I will use that choice parameter. So it is like env multiple choices. I will just give that QA dev stage prod. Now you can just go back here. Now you can just select that particular environment and you can execute it. So it will not give any impact, but just for that I am just showing this parameterized. So this parameterized is done. Then that next topic is cron expressions. The cron expression has been widely used from Linux based environment, because in a Linux we have been used most of the automatic jobs has been configured based on the cron job only. It is similar like that only. So the first expression would give that or it is pointing to minute, and the second star has been indicated to hours, the third star is indicated to day of the month, the fourth star indicates to month, and fifth and last one is indicates to the day of the week. So let's give as a sample example. I want to monitor one particular job with every 30 minutes on that particular, or like a discolored or anything would be, I wanted to monitor it. So what I can do in the first thing, I can just provide the 30, which means every 30 minutes it will monitor that set of commands against this. So it will automatically execute and it will provide that result based on our requirement. That second one is hourly based, which means every day morning 10 a.m. I want to execute set of scripts or commands against on my database. So which means it's similar like a data extraction, and it will copying the data into one of the reporting schema. So that can be handled by this value. And third one is like a day of the month, which means so I want to execute this particular script on every 15th of that particular month. So this data has been mentioned like that that particular 5:30 of 5 hours 30 minutes 15th of day of the month, and the last one is like I want to execute that particular script every 3 months once, like our monthly based I have to execute some scripts. So like it has been provided that month we can use these cron expressions. So let's go back to our console. Back here, no item. So the cron and the poll SCM is like similarly like the same thing. So I will just take as a poll SCM demo, because the next topic is like a poll SCM. So I will take this one, freestyle, select. So poll SCM demo. So I'm not going to give any option here. I will just give that Git. This Git is being my project. I will copy the project from here. So SCM demo. So once we have provided, it will automatically show the error. So we have discussed multiple times. So I'll just give that credential. If you have any doubt, you can just refer the previous video or like on my blog. So I have mentioned very clearly about that, and we have to change this branch name. Otherwise the branch should be like whatever the branch name on your GitHub, so the same name has to be. So here actually master, so with the same syntax has to like it's a case sensitive has to follow here. So I will use every single minute star 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 star. Okay, so build with steps and provide provide the steps of the script chmod 175 star dot slash so I pasted this one for every single minute poll SCM. So what is the difference between build parameters, poll SCMs and everything? So the build parameters has been used for some of the scripts as to execute on hourly based, as I mentioned, that cron based thing, right? So those thing has been used for the build like a cron expression. So in case if you want to use that particular changes against, you are going to just modify this thing. I will just command. So I will just say this is that whole SCM demo, and I will do that change whole SCM demo. So I will just do this change. So this whole SCM, what it will do, once the changes has been found on that thing, so here it will automatically trigger the job and it will display the result. See, the changes has been found and automatically it has been displayed here. In that output you can see that echo of that message. This is a full SCM demo and webhook has been added. So whatever the scripts contains, those information you could see here. Now that we have to understand what is the difference between poll SCM and Git Poll SCM. So the poll SCM is like source code management, which means it is based on whenever any changes has been so it is it will monitor based upon that how much duration we have scheduled. If I in case in our situation we have mentioned every 1 minute, so it will every 1 minute it will go and verify that Git repository any changes has been done or not. So if any changes are there, then it will come directly and it will push the changes into that particular thing. But that Git Poll SCM is whenever the changes occurred on the particular repo, it will automatically push the change or based upon the selection or whatever the configuration we have provided on the webhook. Based on that, it will push the change event into the Jenkins machine. So the huge difference between poll SCM and SCM is the Jenkins has been triggered based on that Git repository. The difference between of poll SCM and Git Poll SCM is the poll SCM is more generic term that can apply any version control changes system. But when it comes to that Git SCM polling, it's tailoring for that Git repository within the Jenkins. That particular outcome is the same for the both, but Jenkins monitors the repository at regular intervals and triggers builds whenever the changes are detected. However, it is essential to consider using the webhook based triggers instead of using polling more efficient and timely build triggering. So let's go back to our Jenkins. We can just see that one more demo for that Git Poll SCM. So what I will do, I will just create a one more Git Poll SCM demo job. This one also freestyle project only. So after that is Git Poll SCM demo job. So once I have provided, I have to copy that source code of this particular repo URL just copy this URL, Git Poll SCM. So once we have just copied, it will throw an error. So we have to have told multiple times. So we have to follow this one, and again we have to use this master, then git hook. See, the major issue with this one, whenever we are going to use this particular thing, we have to manually configure that webhook. So you can automatically add that webhook as well, but my recommendation as a beginners, like learning time, we have to follow this manual webhook configuration only. So how to configure that manual webhook? In the sense, you have to go back to this particular configuration, like manage Jenkins. So here you have to find Git. So if you click here, you could see some of the link, which is so EC23110196146. Sometimes it could be correct or it could be wrong. So what I am suggesting, so if it is like for a demo purpose, you can just directly copy this URL and go back to your webhook. This is my web data page. So that webhook is in under that repository settings in that left side. So here actually I have already have the webhook. So what I will do, I am going to have to create a one more thing. So just okay. So if you are going to use multiple webhook, it requires Pro. So I will delete that existing one. I will just copy that, and I have to copy this webhook as well. Otherwise it will throw an error. So till that I have just copied. Then so during that creation of webhook, we have to mention which, based on the which event you want to trigger this webhook. Like if you want to just push all the events, or like send me everything, or if you have any specific, you can mention it, like git creation or branch deletion or any changes. If you want, you can just mention it. So here actually I have mentioned that add webhook. So once you have added, you have to verify it whether it was successful or not. So sometimes if that URL is wrong, then it will show an error. Even you can verify that recent deliveries. So our webhook is being successfully configured. Then you can just go back to our system. You can just save this file. So we did one great mistake. The thing is, we have to configure the build state. So we have just do the changes, right? So echo, welcome to Jenkins video. I will just say change mode 175 // this particular cell file. Let me just save this file. Now you can just edit this file for our learning purpose. So I will edit this file and I would say like Git Poll SCM added webhook for the demo Jenkins job. So I would do the commit, say like added Git Poll SCM job. So I have just passed this commit. Now you can just go back to that thing. So it will trigger based on the event. So you can just see that we done the changes. So also we have mentioned that push all the event. So once you scroll down, you can just see that our commit message added Git Poll SCM. So whatever the commit message we have provided, that you can see here. Also we have configured some of the shell commands as well. That is like echo, and we have just executed the shell file as well. So the shell file contains of the echo message and ls-la script, and it would contains of some of that another echo message. So it will display very clearly. So if you have any questions, please let me know in the comments. If you like this video, you can just share and give likes and subscribe to this video. Thank you for watching.